Green Lantern New Guardians number 13, written by Tony Bedard, art by Andre Bresson and Emilcar Pina. This is a part of the Rise of the Third Army arc event thing going on. And last issue, in the Zero issue, we discovered Carol. She put back on the Star Sapphire ring. Kyle showed up looking for Hal. Hal's dead, obviously, in some way or another. But we discovered that in his future, he is to wield all the Lantern Corps colors. He's already got green and blue. So this issue is about red. And we open up with a flashback to his old girlfriend, Alex. And he's prepping to meet her dad for the first time. And we keep on getting intercut with Atrocitus, who is on Earth, just beating the crap out of Kyle. And we see just going back and forth, until finally we get to Atrocitus standing over top of bloodied Kyle saying, like, come on, man, I know you got rage somewhere down in you, just pull it up already. And Carol steps in like, hey, maybe stop beating him up so bad. And he's like, don't tell me how to handle rage. I know how to handle rage. And she's like, yeah, well, I know your origin story, and I know that you're only rageful because you once loved, and love's my domain, bitch. And he's like, whatever. So then we see that this whole time they were fighting in a graveyard, and he actually runs into the headstone of his old girlfriend, and he just recounts like, oh, the Guardian gave me this power and I didn't feel worthy, but she was there and she had me embrace the responsibility right up until she was fridged. Literally like they kept that's what happened. So she's like, yeah, that memory doesn't make me angry, Atrocitus, that just makes me sad. So at this point, Atrocitus is just like, all right, screw it, let's go. So he picks up Kyle and flies him off because he's like, yeah, look, I can't get my work done if you're sitting here protecting him the whole time, so we're off. So then we go to Space Sector 2819, and we see two Red Lanterns just flying about, and they're like, yeah, you feel like something's going on around here, like some sort of event or whatever? And the other one's like, nope. And so then they fly off, and then we see they're being tracked by members of the Third Army. And they've entered into the airspace of some particular planet that's like, stop, you will be scanned for any infectious diseases before coming to our planet. Anyway, back on Earth, we see that Atrocitus has taken Kyle to, as far as I can say, a war zone where there are civilians all being lined up at gunpoint pretty much. And he's just like, look at this. Innocents being killed. Doesn't that make you angry? And he like holds Kyle back so he can't do anything. And then we get Atrocitus' whole origin story, which was in Red Lanterns number 0. Like literally the exact same as it was here, so whatever. But then he's like, come on. I know that you're like me deep down. These people are killing other people. Don't you feel angry about that? And Kyle does feel angry about that. And he manages to spark the red energy inside of him and turns into a Red Lantern with like a full helmet, mask change, and everything. So he swoops down. One man was already killed. That's what set him off. Swoops down, starts beating up the entire rest of the armed forces, just knocking all of them out, throwing his like fire blood at them. And he goes back to Atrocitus, and he's like, well, about time you grew a pair. And then he gets pissed off at Atrocitus because he's like, this is your fault. He died because of you. And you're just as bad as they are. And Atrocitus is like, no, I'm actually far worse. And he just smacks down Kyle, knocks him out of the red state. And he's like, all right, well, I did my part. Good luck with the other colors, and save me a Guardian or two for when you kill them all. Bye. So he looks at all the people around who are wounded. He sparks up some blue energy in order to heal their wounds, and then flies back off to talk to Carol. And Carol's fixing up the headstone of his girlfriend when Kyle arrives, and he's just like, hey, I did it. Let's move on to the next one. And she's like, oh, you did it? You got red? And he's like, yeah, let's go. She's like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, you had me channel rage. Like, how do you expect me to feel? This sucks. Let's just go save your boyfriend already. And she's like, that's not... Look, I don't only want to do this to save Hal. That's not all I care about. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, let's go. So they're going to find Arkillo, the Yellow Lantern, for the next lesson. Meanwhile, Sector 2819 again, we see that ship that was hailing the Third Army has been breached. They are infected by the Third Army, all starting to turn themselves. But their little scanner thing to say if they have any infectious diseases, says like, yep, this thing will take over the host and then spread itself about. Forecast universal pandemic. So that's neat. I really like this one. I think it was a super solid issue the whole way through. Atrocitus looks weird. And I think that's only because I've really seen him done in Red Lanterns, which only has like 2 or 3 artists on it, neither of which were Andre Bresson or the other one, Emil Carpina. So it's a weird take on him, but it's still recognizable. I really like Kyle's Red Lantern design. I was going to say disguise. No, it looks great. It's a fantastic character design. I hope we see more of that in the future. So, yeah, no, just an enjoyable issue all around. I'd say my only real problem with it is we get those pages of just like, here's my backstory and why it's so tragic. And I'm okay with that for Kyle because we haven't covered that yet. But for Atrocitus, like, this is like the 3rd, 4th time we've covered it across Red Lanterns and this one. So maybe pump the brakes on that. But overall, this issue is a 7.5. Definitely enjoy it. Definitely looking forward to finding out how the Yellow Lanterns and the rest of the cores go and seeing when we can get to this cover image of White Lantern Kyle again.